then, I'm saying statistics, ma'am. I'm saying statistics. You're so loving and tolerant. I can feel the tolerance that you are.
The world is full of self-proclaimed gurus who love to dish out life lessons while stumbling into ironic contradictions. Sometimes the humor is self-inflicted, and other times it takes an outsider to spot the absurdities. Gotta love the comedy of human nature, right? Here are the times when woke people got owned with their own logic.
Hey, I really wanted to thank you for coming out today, and specifically for talking to those who have different viewpoints than your own. I'm not looking to argue with you, I just want to know about the ideology as to why you think that a woman shouldn't have the right to her own bodily autonomy in regards to abortion.
A woman should have the right to her own bodily autonomy, but not to kill another human. You know, but as far as the idea that I'm like sitting awake at night thinking, how do I control women's bodies? No, not really, not at all, actually. The thing that I do care about is the preservation of human lives. I don't have an argument that pro-choicers are ignoring a premise. That's fine. You're allowed to ignore a premise or think a premise that I'm giving is wrong. It turns out that the vast majority of women for literally all of human existence have engaged in childbearing and rearing, and it has not, in fact, ruined their lives. In fact, married women with children are, by poll data, the happiest women in America.
All right, thank you for the straw man fallacy. Thank you.
I missed what she actually said. What was it? Straw man?
Straw man fallacy, I think.
You can't just shout straw man and run away. Do you want to come back and explain why it was a straw man, or no? Okay, you're just going to run away.
Looks like we have an armchair philosopher on our hands. It's easy to lob criticism from behind the safety of a screen, but it takes courage to stand behind one's words. Maybe she should brush up on her Aristotle before handing out unsolicited wisdom.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
This is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Talk about a confusing chapter in her book, claiming to have a whole chapter dedicated to wokeness while being unable to define it. Perhaps the real title should have been blindly jumping on the woke bandwagon for profit. Honesty is the best policy, but apparently profitability trumps clarity.
Can you point me to any single country that has restricted freedom of speech that has done better?
I simply ask you for the source.
Okay.
Can you give me the source
Nazi
on that?
Germany, Soviet Russia, Castro, Che Guevara regimes, current UK, Canada, Maoist China. Need I go on?
Absolutely. You said every country.
Every single country that has limited freedom of speech has resulted in a net loss.
Please give me an actual citation to back up your claim.
You would say that Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Maoist China, Che Guevara, Castro regimes, and I can't go through every single country.
I'm just asking you to give me a scholarly source that says that.
I don't have a scholarly source with me right now saying that Nazi Germany is worse off with speech laws than the United States.
And so what I said
You're just going to have to take my word for it.
And exactly what I said was there are plenty of examples where it doesn't work. You're absolutely right. I don't disagree with that at all.
Can you point me to any example where it has?
Eventually, we can possibly get to the point where it can work. And we need to keep trying. That doesn't mean because it hasn't worked, we don't give up.
One country that has better net results for human freedom and human rights by restricting speech. What's your source? One.
I'm honestly going to say we're not there yet.
Thank you so much. Hopefully, once we find that one example, that'll be great.
It's baffling when someone demands evidence for a universally accepted fact. Arguing about water being colorless without any knowledge or research? That's like debating whether the sky is blue without ever looking up.
I don't know if you are aware of this, but everyone has a prostate. Literally everyone. But again, this is part of that biology you would have learned if you had stuck with it past middle school.
This kind of thinking wouldn't fly with anyone who paid attention in biology class. Those teachers didn't stay up late preparing slides for nothing. Let's give a nod to the hardworking educators who equip their students with actual facts and not these outlandish ideas.
I like your cape.
Thank you. It's a flag.
What's the flag?
Soviet flag.
Oh my gosh. I take it back.
You claimed that the reason that there are more transgender people now is because they are more confused. The hate crimes against transgender people are much higher than those against any other demographic. So is it not more likely that there are more transgender people now because...
Are there more hate crimes in the United States against transgender people or Jews?
I'd guess transgender, but I am not sure.
You are certainly not sure. That's right. It's the answer is Jews.
That'd just be a numbers thing, though. Like, you're like,
it is a numbers thing, but you cited a numbers thing, so then I'm citing a different numbers thing.
0.1% of people in America are transgenders, and yeah, like 100% of them could be like affected by crime.
Is it not, though, more likely that people are identifying as transgender now because of a decrease in the percentage of hate crimes as opposed to previous decades? kids.
The identification is part of the confusion because a man isn't a woman and a woman isn't a man. There is sexual difference. The sexes are not indistinguishable, they're not indiscernible. And there's a great confusion in our culture that men can be women, but they can't.
Talk about a paradoxical pairing. A self-proclaimed woke person proudly displaying a Soviet flag? If this were actually in the USSR, they'd probably vanish into thin air faster than a magician's assistant.
Slavery begins in the early 1800s.
Earlier.
No,
Slavery?
1816 is the beginning of slavery.
1619.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. Okay.
When someone can't even recall basic historical facts like the beginning of slavery, in a debate about it, it's hard to take their arguments seriously. A shaky foundation in knowledge makes for an unstable argument.
I'm asking you, is your mother see you leave out the house like that? Because at this point, that's who I'm going to call. Your mother.
Call her. She's not going to answer.
Well, somebody going to have to come get you because you cannot be at school like this.
Why can't what?
Because it's inappropriate.
What's inappropriate?
Everything you have on. No, everything you have on is inappropriate.
What we're all wearing is inappropriate?
Everything you have on is inappropriate.
It's a hot mess.
Clothes on. I got top and bottom.
Top and bottom. Top and bottom. You thought you was going to come to school.
I thought I was
I'm
going to come
sure
to
your
school
mother.
and learn a lesson in my top and my bottom, and then let's learn a lesson.
No, you ain't going to learn a lesson in my class. The lesson is to put clothes on in the morning.
Going half naked to class, that's one way to grab attention and perhaps a few raised eyebrows. It's the type of scenario that would make for an embarrassing dream, but it's even stranger to see it play out in real life.
Do you think genitals define gender?
No.
If genitals don't define gender, why does removing them affirm it?
So a person will feel more affirmed if they change their genitals, and it'll help affirm them societally.
Would you say then genitals do define gender?
No, I don't think so.
Still say no.
No.
So what do you have to say to the person that says you are what you're born with and you just need to accept it?
You.
The genitals don't define gender claim, coupled with the belief that removing them affirms it, creates a confusing conundrum. Watch any woke person try to defend this for hours, and you'll end up feeling like you're stuck in a never-ending maze of circular logic.
That's where the whole debate goes rogue. You were born a biological male, you were born a biological female, Douglas biological male. This is just a fact. Right?
No.
Once you start saying there are hundreds of genders and you can identify as anything you want, you're going to end up with kids at school going, I'm a horse, and you've got to treat me like a horse.
Piers, you're confusing two things.
No, I'm not.
Sex and gender.
I'm not.
I accept
they are being conflated.
Biological sex is one thing which I totally accept, and so do 99% of the people in the LGBT plus community. Gender is something different. Gender identity is how you see yourself.
And do you believe it's limitless?
No, I don't believe it's limitless.
What's the limit?
Well, there is basically male and female and intersex, but there are people who have different gender identities.
No, but how many genders are there?
Well, there is no fixed number.
So what's the limit?
I don't see a particular limit.
There's no limit. So when you said said there is a limit, now you admit there's no limit.
These individuals can't even untangle their own web of logic, perhaps because subconsciously they're aware that their reasoning is utterly nonsensical. The self-deception runs deep.
+2 = 4. Agree or disagree?
I mean, it depends on what the 2 is. Is it a pregnant mom? Is it 2 pregnant moms? Because that's more. So everything is not as simple.
I mean like math.
Just like 2 pencils plus 2 pencils?
The number 2 plus the number 2.
I would say for the most part, yes. There's some variations where, but the thing is, even that is a flawed concept because it's actually, that pencil is billions of atoms that are vibrating.
First, it was a struggle with language, and now they've declared war on math too. Mathematicians who devoted their lives to proving theories must be turning in their graves. It seems there's no discipline safe from these baffling disputes.
What do you feel if Usain Bolt suddenly identified as a woman?
That's a ridiculous question.
Oh,
and you know
why?
it is. Come on, that's
Why?
silly. Because you can't wake up tomorrow morning and decide that you're a woman and start competing.
It's literally what Leah Thomas has done.
It takes 2 years. In the UK, it takes 2 years.
It takes 1 year to qualify in athletics, right? So
Usain
Usain Bolt could potentially, within a year, with a bit of reduced testosterone treatment, he could sprint against women.
A huge reduction in testosterone.
Yeah, it makes no difference to body mass or size or power.
But it would
or
change.
speed.
It would alter everything.
So would you be fine with that?
If he suddenly did, well, if that's.
You respect his right to be a woman. It's not ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but not for the reasons you think.
But
because it could happen. and you think it's fair.
That's obscene. That is obscene.
Would you be happy if Usain Bolt identified as a woman and began winning the races against women by 2 seconds?
You're making an extreme argument out of what are people's lives.
It's happening with Leah Thomas.
Oh, the irony. Claiming that an ideology is ridiculous, yet still fighting tooth and nail to defend it, reveals a glaring inconsistency. When beliefs align with personal agendas, it seems some are willing to overlook their own criticisms. It's a classic case of do as I say, not as I do.
I think I didn't give permission to film me. I don't want to be filmed. Public stream, you don't need your permission. Cool.
You literally walked up to him and took a photo without his permission.
I'm not being put on f***ing TV though, you know?
Are you worried you're going to come off looking stupid?
No, it's not something I want to debate. That was just very typical of the level of intelligence. Oh, he's back.
Don't you find it funny that you said you don't want to be on film, you walked up, you took a photo without his consent, then you complained about being filmed without consent, and then you just won't leave us alone?
Being interviewed and photographed, you know?
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Okay, so you didn't have to answer. It's just being photographed without consent is the same thing.
I want to be interviewed.
And you're still here.
Treat others as you wish to be treated. A golden rule that somehow escapes the grasp of the woke crowd. They're quick to judge and impose their beliefs on others, but suddenly remember the law when the tables turn.
With my credit card, I max that out to $4,000.
What do you mean you max it out? Max it out or maxed it out?
So my max, I got confused with the credit debt and credit limit. I ended up getting a max credit limit of $8,000. So I could spend up to $8,000. That's what that means, right? Me and my boyfriend, me and my friends, we would go out and I'm like, oh, I'll pay for everybody. I got it. I'll spend the money. Don't worry about it. It's just a credit card. So I would pay and pay and pay and pay. And then I called my mom one day and I wanted her to be proud of me. So it's just like, hey, I've got $4,000 credit on my credit card. And she's like, credit limit or credit debt? I was like, what's debt? It's like, that's bad. Why did you do that? I'm like, I thought that was good.
When young people prioritize learning about gay sex over essential life skills, it raises concerns about the education system's priorities. It's a telling sign of the state of education.
Specifically about anything you really said tonight, although I don't really agree with anything you said.
Okay.
I'm proudly part of the LGBTQ community. I've always stood up for my community whenever I needed to. I want to focus specifically on, I've been listening to you for a little bit just to understand some things. A live stream you did about Pride Month in June on Facebook because you were no longer allowed on YouTube. The event that you were talking about, I actually had the honor of attending that event with a lot of my really close friends, and I found it very perplexing to me how you choose to only focus on the things that are negative when it comes to the queer community.
I'm sorry, when it comes to what community?
The queer community.
Okay.
Do you not realize that people like you and people like the people you're around and that, continue to have this idea of us are the reason we feel that we have to be so openly proud of who we are? Your demented homophobic and transphobic rhetoric and rants just further prove our point that we have to fight loudly to be respected. The reason that LGBTQIA+ suicide rates are so high in this country isn't just because we're part of the community. It's because there are people like you who make us feel like we don't belong. The only LGBTQ agenda we have is...
Okay, is there a question in there or a speech? Yes. You got to ask a question, buddy. I know you wrote this out in your notes, but ask a question. Let's go.
How do you think other people who, with your beliefs, respond to the fact that your hateful and harmful rhetoric costs the lives of queer children every single day, on average, every 45 seconds?
Okay, so this is just going to be a pure boogeyman. You're pretending that someone committed suicide because of Candace Owens. You've got no facts here. You're just going, it's your rhetoric that's causing all of this. When in reality, you want to talk about the tea. I sat down with a man named Walt Heyer who was convinced to chop his penis off after your community told him that there was something wrong with him because he had confusion of people who have changed their parts and can't go back. And you know what happens? Suicide rates go up after they transition. And Candace Owens wasn't the one that chopped their off. Great. Next question.
Enough with the blame game. Woke individuals need to stop pointing fingers and start taking ownership of their actions. After all, personal accountability seems to be an unfamiliar concept in the world of wokeness. Time to step up and face the music.
Life begins when you understand living women matter more than potential babies.
What is it?
What do you mean?
If it's a potential baby, what is inside of a woman?
It's a fetus.
Is it living?
No.
How can it grow if it's not living?
Actually, that's like saying if an acorn is a tree.
When does the fetus become living?
Nope.
That's actually a good question, but that line...
Yeah, of course, because you don't know it, because it's living. It's living.
Oh, wait a second, but I got something for her.
When does this clump of cells or fetus become living?
When it can sustain its own life.
But when is that? When is the sustainability?
That's exactly what she just said.
How do you sustain life? Like, my newborns aren't sustainable. You can't just have a newborn and they just like live on their own, right?
Right.
Bragging about reading something off paper doesn't make for a compelling argument. If you can't sustain your own stance without relying on written prompts, perhaps it's time to reevaluate your position.
You say, a human male who protects his kids. Protects is the word I'm talking about. That's bullying.
Protection is bullying.
Well, yeah.
Redefining protection as bullying is a mind-boggling notion. No one in their right mind would actively seek out bullying. It's the antithesis of protection. Let's leave dictionary words to their intended meanings and focus on actual protection that brings safety and security.
We'll end with this because we're talking about womanhood, so people can probably shout out the question I'm going to ask you right now.
Okay.
You know that you're a woman.
Yes.
What is that?
So gender is a social thing. It only makes sense.
I don't want to hear that. What is a woman? What is a woman?
What is a woman?
The word woman, define in the dictionary. Go.
A woman is somebody who is included and respected and seen and participates in society, recognized by other women. If you speak with women...
Circular definition.
That's mine. Whatever.
Okay. All right.
If you're unable to accurately define the very concept you're advocating for, it reveals a fundamental gap in knowledge. Without a clear understanding of your own principles, everything else built upon them becomes unstable and unfounded.
Why are you destroying private property? That's not cool. You just can't take down other people's ideas because you disagree with the idea of it. If your guys' ideas are so fragile they can never be challenged without you ripping down that, I think that says more about your ideas than his.
Posters aren't supposed to be on the lampposts because you need to have permission to place them.
Like how your flyer is on the pole? So the only free speech that's allowed to happen is yours. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to interact with you. If you want interaction, it's not going to happen.
But you won't come and ask me a question.
Go put up the flyer. Come on.
Just so you can tear them down again?
There's still plenty up, aren't there?
We're not taking down your flyers. We're not covering up your flyers. I don't know why you feel the need to take ours down. You want to call us fascists. You want to say that we're horrible people because we have different viewpoints than you, but you're the ones taking down the flyers.
The classic double standard. Despite her numerous valid arguments, the opposition failed to present even a single convincing counterpoint. It's a glaring example of unequal expectations and treatment.
Yes. When does life begin?
In my opinion, well, human life begin, or when does life begin? Because that's a different question.
Human life. That's the operative question,
human
right?
Life begins when a human can survive outside, a human can survive outside the body.
Why do you believe that?
That would be, well, because,
No, I don't.
Human life, if I cut off my finger, is that human?
Got it.
That clump of human cells, is that different?
Well, let me ask you a question. So if someone who's on a ventilator who can't survive without external machine support, is that a human life?
Well, they can survive outside the womb.
But not without a machine. Without assistance. Without help.
Okay, people on ventilators, oftentimes will cede their right to be removed from
or someone on dialysis, or someone who's in a nursing home. They can't support themselves, right? So, but those are still human lives.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. I think you know the difference between a developing human that may not have a heartbeat or may not have.
Well, heartbeats start at 6 weeks, so that's a different.
That help you.
Now we're moving it back.
So you would be okay with a 6-week abortion then?
No.
By his own logic, he should disqualify himself from the conversation, as his beliefs prohibit him from having an opinion on this matter. It's a curious instance where his reasoning only holds up if he steps back from the debate altogether. Baffling to see people getting outraged over the suggestion that a stable, loving family environment can be beneficial for children. Woke ideology seems more concerned with upholding a rigid worldview than with engaging in open dialogue. Even if you present a reasonable argument, it may fall on deaf ears if it doesn't align with their preconceived notions of truth.
Can you identify as a black person?
No.
Why?
Because I'm not black.
I'm not a woman, but I can identify as a woman according to you.
If you transition, maybe.
What defines a transition?
If that's your goal,
If you believe it.
Sure.
If you believe you're black, why aren't you black?
Well, that's like genetics. That's like ancestry.
You're also born a man or a woman. It's the same thing. That's also genetics.
Okay, I'm over it.
It's easier to flee from the scene than to face the reality that their beliefs may be flawed or uninformed. Ignorance doesn't fare well when faced with knowledge and evidence. So, cheers, wokies.
What we do is we annualise our figure to full-time. So we look at all part-time employees and full-time employees that may have worked part of a 12-month period, and we annualise that data to take into account part-time hours. So therefore we're converting the part-time hours to full-time, if you like.
So do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Not directly, no.
Ignoring work hours when discussing wage pay differences is like trying to navigate with a map that's missing crucial landmarks.
How do you believe that it's okay to kill an animal when it's not okay to kill a child? You defend a child more. Some children die. Some children never make it out of the womb.
Well, because human beings are human. A is A, and human beings are worthy of protection, and animals are not humans.
What about milk? But animals are raped all the time. Cows are raped to produce milk. Yeah, to produce milk, a cow has to be impregnated.
You think that cows are being raped? I gotta be honest.
Yes.
I've been doing this for 12 years. I've never heard that before.
Yes, but they are raped because they're not referred to as being raped. They're said to be forcibly inseminated. How come that's okay, but raping a small child is not?
I would not.
Yeah. Welcome to Bull.
The message here is clear. All children should be protected from this human. Yikes.
When the Taliban can use our social media, but an ex-president can't, there is something wrong with it.
Did the Taliban violate community guidelines?
It doesn't matter.
I think it matters to Twitter what their community guidelines are. That's why they banned Trump, because Trump violated community guidelines. That's what every platform has.
The Taliban stones people because they're gay.
If they've done that and they've posted videos of stoning gay people, I agree, they should be removed, and that is fundamentally wrong.
Except the problem is they're smart enough to not do that.
I'm an American, and I have to vote between this person and this person. I need equal access to both of them to decide what's right. Bro, you could be a Klansman, you could say you hate black people. That's not my job to police your language. I can't expect everybody to love me and think the way I think. All y'all think differently. I mean, that's totally dope. But the fact that you want somebody removed because they think differently, that could be you one day.
To the woke crowd, adherence to social media platforms' community guidelines is often seen as the ultimate litmus test for acceptable behavior. As long as someone doesn't violate Twitter's rules, their actions are perceived as being above reproach.
I just want to ask you what you as a male, just like would guess you are a male, think you have the right to speak up and tell women what to do with their body?
Are men allowed to have opinions on moral topics?
Yeah, you are, of course, allowed to have opinions, but it's a really controversial opinion to tell a woman what to do with their body. You are a man, and it's not your field-based eye.
So if it's not your DNA, why is it your choice?
Of course, it's my body.
It happens to be temporarily in your body, but is it your being?
Yeah.
It is? Didn't the woman make a choice to have sex and then she should carry the responsibility that comes with it?
I think there are two people who should carry the responsibility, not only the woman.
Okay, wait, hold on. So then shouldn't a man be able to say, you can't have an abortion without my consent? I thought you said it was just a woman's issue.
Many woke individuals desire all the benefits of rights without the corresponding responsibility that comes with them. In her attempt to refute his point, she inadvertently ended up reinforcing it.
What do you guys think about the wage gap?
I'm gonna make less just because I'm a woman, but also because I'm black. I mean, it's outrageous.
We're actually talking about the OnlyFans wage gap between men and women. Oh, you don't want to talk about it? No. Don't you think they should be paid the same? Equality. Men are ugly, there you go.
The classic case of cherry-picking equality. When men earn more, it's deemed inequality. But when women earn more, it's seemingly acceptable. This skewed logic reeks of double standards and hypocrisy, as true equality should ensure fairness and consistency regardless of gender. claiming to hold a peaceful protest while simultaneously harassing drivers and obstructing traffic? That's a blatant contradiction. Unfortunately, this do as I say, not as I do mentality has become a recurring theme within woke activism.
Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning?
Because,
so we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this? Where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning.
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Asking for clarification on their thought process often triggers accusations of transphobia. But let's be real. It's just a genuine attempt to understand their perspective. It's not about questioning someone's identity, but rather trying to comprehend how they arrived at their beliefs. After all, understanding basic biology shouldn't be a taboo subject.
Right? The moment it looks like it's just over the top, like it's everywhere you go, is pride, 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 pride. Do we need to be that exuberant about it?
Are you blaming gay people for that? I mean, it's not our fault that companies...
Honestly, I don't care what sexuality anybody is. I don't think most people do anymore.
Right, so what is the problem then? Why are you so triggered by a flag?
I'll tell you
it's a
what
rainbow
problem.
flag.
I'll
You
tell
mentioned Regent
I'm
Street.
not triggered by a rainbow flag. I'm triggered by the fact that everywhere I go for a calendar month, everything has to be a rainbow flag.
Well, I'm triggered that everywhere I go for the entire year, everything has to be straight. Why is straight
Where's
everywhere?
my straight flag?
Why am I constantly
Where
getting
is
straight
my
people?
straight flag?
Why are straight people holding hands in the
When
street?
have you ever seen a straight flag?
Why has Mickey Mouse got a
Tell me
girlfriend?
one straight flag
Why are
hanging
you
right now
pushing-
anywhere in the world.
Why are straight people
Where
pushing
is the straight flag?
identity
Where's the
onto
straight
me?
flag?
Everywhere.
Where's my straight flag?
It's everywhere.
It's never been a straight flag.
You're a straight flag.
Let me bring Tommy back, because this made me laugh. Demi Lovato has revealed she got tired of using they, them pronouns.
If they truly want to promote progress and inclusivity, it would be beneficial for them to present the flag they're referring to.
Your definition is that a woman is someone who is female, you said, right?
Correct, is a biological female.
So what happens if we have maybe someone who is female, identifies as a woman, right? You know, cisgender woman, right? As you just explained, maybe doesn't have the ability to reproduce. Maybe doesn't have those organs that you're talking about that are reproductive organs.
I have answered the question. You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word, so what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right? So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people who...
That describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently.
Oh boy, that sounds like a riddle with no logical resolution. Trying to explain that to a 2-year-old would be futile, as it doesn't make sense even to adults. I am a woman, but I am not a woman because I'm not a woman. Really?
The executive director of Spectrum Center. My pronouns are they, them. I am a ilukukaktunga malgun.
A woke interpreter? Now, wouldn't that be handy?
Yeah, this is him. I called up my dad and I said, hey, guess what? Your grandson, gay, 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 gay. My dad says, you can't just say that your baby is gay before he gets a chance to tell us he's gay. And I go, whoa, 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 whoa. Straight people do it all the time. Little baby boy is born. Oh, he's gonna be a heartbreaker. Little baby girl is born. Oh, you better lock her up when she turns 16. Clearly, people want their children to be straight. Well, my son is gay. Gay. Very gay.
The hardest thing to watch is those children caught in the crossfire of ideological confusion. They're innocent bystanders in a world where some adults prioritize their own desire to stand out over the well-being of their offspring. These kids deserve to grow up in an environment that fosters self-discovery and self-acceptance, free from the pressures of ideological agendas.
What is a woman?
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition.
If I decided right now that I wanted to identify as a woman, I would be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know, but right now I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I would be a woman. So once a person makes the decision to identify as a woman,
got it. No,
they're a woman.
That's a separate issue. What is a woman?
That's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have how do you know that they are that thing? It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to. I did give you a definition.
No. You said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman. That doesn't give me a definition.
Claiming to understand women's desires, yet struggling to define what being a woman actually means. It will never make sense.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU is doing.
Is there something that NYU is doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU is doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either. I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of pops.
Participating in a protest has become a trendy way to garner attention on social media, often overshadowing the actual cause being championed. Unfortunately, it's become less about making a difference and more about capturing the perfect video or selfie to showcase one's supposed activism.
Is it genuinely your position that you think that all men are pedophiles?
I think the vast majority, yes. Innately, yes. Biologically, yes. I think if they were granted the opportunity to get away with having sex with a 15-year-old girl with no repercussions, they would do it, yes.
What's the evidence for that?
You have no evidence for this.
This entire conversation has been evidence.
So that's not an argument. That's an argument from incredulity. It's fallacious. What's the evidence that I can look at right now that proves your point?
What are you even talking? Look at.
I'm talking about evidence.
Well, hold on.
Do you have any or not?
Yeah.
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Spouting unfounded claims without any supporting evidence is akin to waking up and declaring that all humans are serial killers based on the actions of a few individuals. Kudos to you for sticking around through these thought-provoking discussions. Your open-mindedness and willingness to engage is commendable. Don't forget to show your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Above all, keep that unwoke spirit alive and continue to challenge the status quo.